Well, I guess since it's cold as fuck outside, I might as well sit back and watch some Netflix. And what do you know, a new film with Jake Gyllenhaal. Written and directed by Dan Gilroy, the film follows three storylines at the same time. A cold-as-hell art museum curator, a stingy art critic, and a bankrupted artist, all of which center around a recently deceased artist's work and how each of them tries to profit off of them in some way. Whether it is lying about where a person found the art, writing a book about the art, or selling off the art. But little do they realize that there are some dark secrets behind the canvases that may end up in their character's demise. To be straight up honest with you, I don't know all of the works of Dan Gilroy, and I feel like people who know his work will get a better appreciation than I did because I thought the film is very average. People were hyping up this film as some sort of new Netflix masterpiece, and all I have to say is, have you not seen Roma? The good things about this film are rare. The only great actors in the film come from Toni Collette as she plays this art museum clerk whose infatuation with the bizarre art was interesting. And as usual, Jake Gyllenhaal gives a pretty good performance. Not as good as Nightcrawler, but his sense of critique gets turned on him in a very interesting way involving a room with speakers. Some of the deaths were pretty interesting and the rest were kind of uninspired. The gist of this film is that the art kills the viewer almost in a Mirrors-like fashion, but it gives enough deviation from the style that Velvet Buzzsaw is his own thing. But that is where my positives come to an end and where my disappointments begin. Firstly, the film utilizes David Deeks, who was great in Blindspotting, but is so underutilized in this film, and his role kind of comes off as a morality play. Like, his whole thing is that he is an underground artist and he blows off a high art society to work on his own thing. His character is not a character anymore, he's a thematic ploy to jab at the high art society. And while some of the criticism is entertaining and interesting to watch, I feel like a lot of it is just the standard criticisms we have for it today. How a lot of the art in modern art stores and museums are almost literally trash bags. The ending of the film is also something I take issue with. This is probably a personal thing, but I feel like Jake's character should have survived. He realized what he needed to do with the paintings, yet he is punished for trying to do so. That is some backwards logic once you know where the curse of the art comes from. Would I recommend it? Sure. If you're a fan of Dan Gilroy and haven't seen this film, then check it out. It partially comes off as a generic horror film at times, but with some form of intellectual pointers to keep casuals busy. Velvet Buzzsaw gets a C.